it asks correct information, I guess, to ensure that you're not wasting your time. And that's the number one thing I tell my team, any of my mentees as well. You do not want to waste time on folks that, are not serious about buying. Maybe I have another agent, and unless you ask the right questions and you get the information on their initial phone call, you'll waste a lot of time, especially new agents. They'll, get a $400,000 or $500,000 lead. And most people will be like, oh man, that's a $15,000 check. And they'll immediately, they don't ask any questions. They're like, yeah, let's go take a look at this, nice $500,000 house. And so this script really allows you to kind of change your mindset on that to ensure that you're following a proper, set of info that you want anyway, and to ensure that you're not going to waste any time showing people that, wouldn't use you, or wouldn't possibly use you anyway, wouldn't give you the opportunity.
That's the biggest regret of new agents that I speak to. When they look back on their first year, they're like, I really regret not valuing my time and treating it like a business. Oh, Jeff's back.
Oh, I am back.
There we go.
If you make me a co-host, I'll share, and we'll start with the buyer script.
It's not allowing me to make you the co-host.
Oh, that's good.
Maybe you, because you're the host.
Oh, I am the host now. I see. Yeah, I can make you a co-host.
There you go, dude.
I didn't realize that I was the host then.
Yeah, I had to.
Difficulties.
At least you don't have to be good at Zoom to sell houses, you guys. If they
Yeah,
can,
we
if
sell
these
so
guys
many
can do it,
houses
you can do it.
None of this stuff. Okay. I'm going to share share your desktop and just go from there. Okay. What do you think 1 to 10 of my back screen?
That's nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Can you see that script?
Yes, sir.
What about now? All right. All right. So we're going to go over this and then kind of sporadically at first, just to show you why it's kind of important to hit these steps. And then I'm going to go over some common listing and seller objections, buyer objections, and things like that. So Mikey, go ahead and get started and let people know why, we use this script essentially.
Yeah, for sure. And y'all be thinking of objections that maybe come to y'all's mind too when I'm going over this, that we just get in general. Because everybody gets some typical objections. We can't see the screen anymore, Jeff.
Oh, this is going really well. All right. How about now?
Now we're good. All
right, let's jump.
All right. So, yeah, like I was telling you guys, the main reason we use this is to ensure that we're getting all the information we want to have confidence in showing that client. I mean, that's the number one thing. We don't want to drive 30, 40 minutes to find out that their uncle is out of town and they're the agent. We don't want to find them. We don't want to do that. So there's a specific reason we do this in this order too, which you'll see here in a second. So going through each point here seems pretty basic at first. So the very first thing we do is get what all locations they're looking at purchasing within. Seems pretty easy, but a lot of times buyers just aren't too knowledgeable about the process. So they might think that, from one city to the next city, you have to find a different agent each one. Whereas, here in Houston, we have access to a giant area of different cities and everything that we can help them with. So just ensuring that you get that info and letting them know that, you can help them wherever that is. Going on to price, we really want to know where they came up with this price at. So if they reached out about a 400,
is it just me or did everything go quiet?
It went quiet on me too.
Yeah, it went completely quiet.
I think he's frozen.
We're rocking and rolling. Sorry, Mikey, but so what are you saying about the location? Some people call and they go, I'm interested in a house at 123 Main Street. You can be a customer service representative right there and give them that information, or you can say, oh, great, everyone's calling about that property. That's over there in Upper Kirby. Is that the only location you're looking to buy in? And open up the conversation, right? Don't say, because if people call for information and you just right off give them the information, then what they're going to do is say, okay, thanks. And then you're struggling to keep that person on the phone. So just go through that one more time. If they call, hey, I'm calling about 123 Main Street, you say, oh, it seems like everyone's calling about that property. I think that's over there in Upper Kirby. Is that the only location you're looking to buy in? And that opens up the conversation. And then hone in locations because at the end of the day, the more questions you ask during the process before you start showing them properties, the less amount of homes you'll have to show them before you find something for them. So just the more questions you ask, the better. So price, almost the same type of thing. It's not, that price, that property is listed at 350,000. You can't say that, because if they say, oh, okay, well, I can't afford that, or oh, that's too low, you're off, right? So yeah, I'm pulling that up right now. I think it's around $300,000. Is that about the amount that you've been pre-approved for? And they'll say a different things, like ask them those open-ended questions, and they could say, oh yeah, I got cash, or yeah, that's definitely in my price range. And you can always say, oh, well, how'd you come up with that number? And a lot of people will say right then, whether they are brand new, they don't like, oh, I don't know, I think I can afford that, or they can say, oh, I've spoken to a lender, he said that I can, I can afford that kind of thing. So that's the price. Motivation is probably the most important step, because you want to find the source of why they're looking to buy or even sell, if that matters. So, and then it gives you the opportunity to open up some more, open-ended questions. Oh, Mikey's calling. There's something going on with him, but
You can answer that real quick. Mute yourself.
no, he can, if he tries to jump in, just let him in. But the
My bad.
motivation.
I'm back.
Oh,
You're
my.
a hot mess. This is the last
I don't know
time.
what's happening. I don't know what's happening.
We're done, Mikey. We already finished.
I was talking to myself and my whole thing just went off. So sorry about that.
Oh, we're having a good time, right? We're rocking and rolling. So, and that's so much better than one of those Zooms that are just like, okay, this is how you sell a house. First step, right? It's better when you have issues like this. So that's good. Mike, I talked about location, talked about price. I was just jumping into motivation and letting them know, why you need to find the source of why they're looking to buy and sell, because then they'll kind of open up a little bit and you'll really be able to build rapport in this section, because they'll say, oh, my lease is up in a few months, or, oh man, I'm getting a divorce, or, oh man, we're getting married, or something like that. And you can kind of dig in that a little bit more on the motivation side. But that's where we left off, Mikey, number 3. If you want to
Awesome.
Y'all should find some fun words to use, because I feel like when you first start talking to people, they don't know if they like you or if they trust you. They're uncomfortable. They don't want to talk about their finances. And so like for price, for example, when the interest rates aren't terrible, we'll say, hey, do you want to pay cash or do you want to leverage today's great interest rates? Or have you ever did you get a chance to find out your purchasing power? It's so exciting to know what you're able to do, and find some kind of a positive energy word or power word to use with each one of these. That way it's like an exciting, oh, this is cool. I've got, something amazing that's happening. And same thing with motivation. I know Mikey's going to go over that, but don't be afraid to just say, tell me more. And you will get paid in direct proportion to the kind of questions that you ask. So the more that they're able to talk and feel comfortable, the more you're going to get a client out of the end of this conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah. And positivity, keeping it positive, that just gets that person on the other line, on the other side of it, just really excited about it as well. So yeah, I know Jeff went over a little bit of motivation, but yeah, what's causing the move? This is going to give us really important information on, like, when do they need to be there? Is their lease up, in a month? Do we have to get on it that quick? Are they looking 6 months from now, 8 months from now? So it gives you the really good idea of what their motivation is. And then you can even ask more questions on that and see what we're doing. But for instance, like, let's say that they're in a lease currently and their lease is up in 6 months. Well, now we know we need to ask if we find that perfect home for you today, are you ready and able to make an offer on it? Or do you think we're going to have to wait, until the lease is up, or we get a little closer? Because when they answer, well, we're going to have to wait until the lease is up, we know, okay, well, we need to kind of step back and educate them a little bit, tell them we're a little bit early to start shopping for homes, still get them excited, but that's just kind of the direction of the conversation and how you would want to go with it. Same thing with if they own a house, if they own their current house. If they haven't spoken with a lender yet, they probably don't know. Do they need to sell their house before they purchase the next one? Are they going to rent it out and keep it as an investment? And all of those are good information, because then if they have to sell it before they purchase this next one, you can kind of go into a little pitch about, they made it to the right person. You can help them on both sides of this, so they don't actually have to talk to anybody else. And get them excited about that side of it as well. So motivation is huge, because it's going to tell you, and it's going to make you aware of exactly their time frame of what they're looking for. And you can always come back to it. That's the main thing. So, I mean, if they, they're kind of dragging their feet, but their lease is up in 30 days, 45 days, you come back to that, and you're like, man, I know we have to make a move quick, and you just kind of reiterate what they've already told to you. So that's motivation.
And yeah, like you said, Mike, a lot of, I do come back to, especially if you have those clients that that want to look at 20, 30, 40 homes, and they got like a couple weeks left or whatever. It gives you the opportunity to paint the picture of what you talked about, even weeks or even months ago. Like, man, I'm just trying to get you closer to your kid's school, man. So we really got to dig in and do this. And they're gonna be like, wow, okay, kind of thing. So make sure you do that.
Number 3, I think, is the opportunity, the best opportunity you have to build a quick rapport with that person, to make them part of, like, hey, they're going to be your clients. So, because it's like the most vulnerable, right? You're talking about, do you have kids? What schools are they going to? Are you moving for work? What did life happen? So really dig into that for a second while you have them on the phone.
Yep. And Mikey, number 4, obviously there's a reason that we wait till 4 to ask them if they're working with an agent, right?
Correct. Yeah. So there's a reason why agent's number 4, mortgage is number 5. So those are the 2 hardest things to discuss with someone, I guess you could say. And you don't want to come out, on the initial part of the conversation, say, are you working with an agent? It's just a turnoff. Or are you pre-approved already? It just turns them off immediately, right? So 1, 2, and 3, we're breaking down barriers. We're breaking down their walls to get them a little more comfortable with us, kind of building that rapport, like Amanda said. And then that's whenever you go to number 4. And so the way we say it, we use a one-line, kind of like a one-liner, but it's a less intrusive way of asking them if they have an agent. And so I seriously use it every single one of my clients. And I say, hey, I assume you reached out to me directly because you're not working with an agent currently. Is that correct? And then based off how they answer that, either to ask more questions because you didn't really like how they answered it. For instance, maybe they have been working with another agent, or to just kind of go on, assume the business. Hey, I look forward to, helping you guys. And then you go on to the next one. But you can ask additional questions such as, well, how many homes have you been inside of? Have you been in any? And they'll be like, yeah, we've seen it. We've seen quite a few. Oh, that's awesome. How'd you get inside those? Like, were they open houses? Did you call the listing agent? And by asking some additional questions, you uncover, okay, well, they've seen multiple houses with multiple different agents, but most of them have been listing agents. So now I have to kind of educate them on the reason why they would want their own exclusive buyer's agent over calling a listing agent, And so it just kind of helps you direct the conversation to make them understand, okay, I need you as my agent.
Yeah. And if they say, oh, no, I'm not working with an agent, that's an opportunity to close the sale and ask for the sale right there. If you see these little notes in red, you can say something like, oh, great, I love to earn your business, right? Oh, I'm not working with an agent. Great, I love to earn your business, right? And kind of reiterate the fact that, you want to be their agent. Or you can say, well, that's great, man. I love the opportunity of earning your business. I just wanted to ensure that's a possibility. And they'll say, oh yeah, it's, they kind of ask them to make sure they hire you. And if they say, yes, I am working with an agent, my favorite one is, oh, great, who's your agent? And a lot of times you'll notice when you say, oh, great, who's your agent? They don't know. They just said they're working with an agent because they didn't want to be sold on something. So right then you can say, oh, great, who's your agent? And they'll be like, I think his name is Michael. And then you can follow up and say, well, quick question, is Michael currently meeting your expectations? Like, just want to see why you're reaching directly out to me. And kind of dig it even more. So that's an important step, but it's also important not to do that right at the beginning of the conversation. You're going to run them off.
Yep. 100%. I say, by the way, I look forward to earning your business. So it's like even more of an assumption. It's like, oh, I'm earning this business, So anyway, Going on to mortgage. So mortgage is by far the hardest and most difficult thing to talk to a, first initial conversation about, but there's ways of asking those questions and getting information that are less, I guess, aggressive and intrusive. And Amanda actually said a few earlier in there, like whenever the interest rates are really good, you can say something like, hey, are you going to be paying cash, or are you going to be leveraging the great interest rates we have going on right now? I usually say, hey, have you already spoken to a lender about the awesome down payment options that you have available to you? And it's just about keeping it positive, because whenever they say no, which a lot of people will, that's whenever you say, oh, okay, no worries. That's the very first step in the home buying process. And then what you have to do is you have to give them a value, which the value that I give, and you'll probably hear it here in a bit, but it's just the purchasing power and getting the pre-approval letter and how powerful those are. But you give them those values, so then they understand, okay, well, that makes sense. I need to get that. And then you offer them your preferred lender and get them approved.
You can
Okay.
have fun with that too. Like you can say, I love having like people compete for you, right? So let's have like my 2 favorite lenders, and maybe you have a local bank that you love, so they feel empowered. They're using their local guy, and let's have them give us a GFE, a good faith estimate, and let's just have them compete for the best deals for you, and you get to pick your favorite. Does that sound great? And then they feel like, oh, this is fun. Like, I have nothing to lose kind of thing.
And if they say they're working with Chase or Bank of America, or my friend knows a guy, what Mikey traditionally says, if you can explain how Mikey, how essentially, if they're open to saving money on their mortgage, would they,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a great way. As realtors, we always want to get them with our preferred lenders, right? Everybody does. So let's say that they're already pre-approved, and we found that out during number 2, during the price. They said they were pre-approved, whoever, credit union, Chase, doesn't matter, right? Never bash those lenders, by the way. Never. Don't bash them. So it would be like, hey, hey, Jeff, I know that you had told me earlier that you're pre-approved through Chase. Congratulations on that. That's the very first step. Let me ask you though, if I could save you, $75 to $100 a month on your mortgage, would you want to hear about that? The answer is always yes, like always. They were like, yeah, of course. And then that's whenever you turn around, you say, okay, great. Well, I actually have a preferred lender. He's phenomenal. He actually has been proven to get my clients the lowest rate, the lowest cost, to save you money. And here's listen to this, because this is what I say. And as your agent, I just want to ensure that you were getting the best deal possible. That's the second time I'm assuming the sell, and it's a subconscious thing to when you're saying that, they're automatically starting to think, okay, Michael's my agent. So it's just a good way of continuing to assume that sell.
Yep. Let's move on to number 6. Like I said, I think when Mikey had his internet problem, the more questions you ask about their scenario, about the perfect house, and everything, the less properties you'll have to show them. So the home criteria is pretty important. And I would touch on that, especially if it gets a little long-winded on the agent and mortgage part, because that's usually the longest part of the conversation. And you have to respect the fact that these people are most likely reaching out just for some quick information on a listing of yours or a lead or something. So you don't want to keep them on the phone too long. So, but you do want to get that information as far as the home criteria. And you can ask them questions like, is carpet in the primary bedroom okay with you, or do you want hardwood? Do you have to have the primary bedroom on the first floor, or would that be okay on the second floor? You can ask them about the pool. Is it okay to have a pool, or you don't want a pool? But the more questions you ask, when they go and they send you 15 properties that they want to see on Super Bowl Sunday, you can be like, well, this property here, I noticed the primary is on the second floor, and all the bedrooms are on the second floor. If I remember right, you only wanted the primary on the first floor. I just want to make sure you caught that. I'm like, oh yeah, definitely. And you can kind of delete those properties out like that. So, but if you don't know about the perfect house for them, it's going to be hard for you to kind of lessen the search results, right, Mikey?
Yeah, I like to say, what's your 5 must-haves? Whenever you get the 5 must-haves, they're going to tell you exactly, whatever's important. So if it's a pool is one of them, they'll tell you. Then whenever you get that, or let's say that they're having difficulties with that, that's whenever you can start saying, well, do you need a fully, fenced yard? Do you need a 2-car garage? Do you need a 3? And you can start asking more detailed questions. But usually when you ask, what's your 5, must-haves in a house, they'll tell you, open concept, no carpet, primary on the first floor. We also need another bedroom on the first floor. It's like they'll give you some of those options for you. And like Jeff said, it'll help eliminate showing 15, 20, 25 homes to maybe 5 or 10.
Yep. And the closing, if you remember, when you had to write papers, is almost like a thesis. You have to just kind of explain what you're going to talk about or what you have talked about. And then the difference between this and a thesis is this section here, you have to assume the business and close and ask for the sale in the closing again. Because again, you don't want to start this conversation or in this conversation as a customer service representative, because that doesn't pay you, right? You want to earn their business. So close with appointment, say things like, as your agent, I'm going to go ahead and gather some of those properties and send those over there. And, and I'm going to get my lender to reach out to you directly, blah, blah, blah. You can say all that kind of stuff. And you want to set an appointment, whether that's going to see the property that they've inquired about, or whether that's them talking, going to talk to the lender, or even whether that's, hey, take all this information. As your agent, I'm going to send you these properties. Take a time to pick out 2 or 3, and then let's chat here in a few hours after you speak to my lender and get these on the books to schedule. You always want to close with another appointment or a follow-up in this section. And like Mike, you saying, assume the business. At this point, just like I do at the end of my listing presentations, I'm assuming everything went well, and I assume that we're going to work together. So I'm doing stuff as their agent. Like in the listing appointment, I'm saying, oh, you got a new AC. I'd love to get that receipt so I can show the prospective buyers that you got a new AC, or you said you had a survey and you said it was in your files. Can you grab that for me? I'd love to take that with me. And then while I'm preparing the listing documents, have that survey on file for you, and just assume the business and just kind of put them in a situation where like, okay, we're working with Jeff, right? Because once you take that information with you on a listing appointment, they're not going to be like, hey, we ended up going, Mikey, can you bring us back my survey? They're not going to do that. They assume it's done and it's over with. So same thing on the buyers, Mikey, right? Close for the appointment.
Yep. It's just a summary of the entire conversation, and it helps the buyer know that you fully paid attention to what they want. So, I mean, that's what I do, an entire kind of summary of the conversation. And just like Jeff said, you assume that business, you tell them, hey, as your agent, this is what I'm going to do for you. And then, yeah, let's say they're talking to the lender in an hour or whatever. I always say, well, hey, I'm going to call you right after that. See how that goes. See what you're thinking about the properties I sent over, and kind of go from there. So yeah, exactly.
Yep. One little quick other tip as well. If you're working with preferred lenders, make sure they edify you when their buyers reach out to them. So one example of, if we just say me and Mikey had a great conversation with a buyer, and then that buyer's like, okay, it looks like I'm working with Michael. Hopefully he's good. And then they call the lender, and the first thing the lender says, hey, before we get started, congratulations on working with Michael Bass over there at Cityside. He's such a great agent, one of my best agents here in the office. Like, so congrats on that. Get them to say that to further solidify you as a realtor. So when you're working with lenders, title companies, any third-party vendor, if you can say, man, you really helped my business, if these initial conversations that I send to you clients, if you can just edify me really quick by saying, hey, congrats on working with Jeff over there at Cityside. I mean, they're rocking and rolling. So first off, congrats on that. Anyway, blah, 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 right? I think I learned that from Amanda, right? You edify the clients and everything with our vendors.
Absolutely. I want to put in the chat box really quickly. Speaking of like mind tricking, I'm all about like the psychology part behind it. When you meet these people, or even if you're on the phone with them for more than a couple minutes, you'll start to hear their predicates. Predicates is kind of how they perceive things from the world. So you might hear them, like they might be visual, right? Like they see stuff, they might go, oh, that looks good. Or I'm a little foggy about that. Or I can imagine that. Or can you picture this? Or they might be auditory, where they're like, oh, that sounds good. Or, hey, I heard about this listing. You start to pick out little words. Or like physical touch, they might go, oh, that feels better. I get it. That's solid advice. I think Mikey says like solid a lot. Or clear as a bell. And then like some people are more logical, kinesthetic, where they'll go, oh, that makes sense. Or I find this reasonable. Or if it checked all the boxes, would you X, Y, and Z, like they're more internal, logical. These are like a little list where you can kind of cheat sheet and go, okay, I really tell that they're auditory. So I'm going to go, I hear you, or, loud and clear. Does that sound good? And what you'll find is if you mirror and match them just a couple times during those first couple minutes, they'll go, oh, she really gets me. Like I really clicked with her. And so it's a little cheat that you guys can use.
Awesome. Awesome stuff here.
Sorry, I had to, blow my nose. So how about that? Another tip for the trade here. There's some at the bottom over here. We never really go over these, but these are some good quotes, Mikey, at the bottom of these scripts. And by the way, if you guys email me, even if you're not with EXP or Team Legacy, or even if you're not a realtor, or if you're in training or whatever, if you email me, or how can we do this where I can get you these scripts, and then I can get you a training calendar when we go over these. And then usually when we go over these in our trainings every week, it's an opportunity for you to specifically say, hey, I'm struggling with this part. Can you help me here? Help me there. And we don't care if you're with EXP or wherever. The more people on that script practice every week, the better for everybody. So, but anyway, maybe we can get, I think I have everyone's emails if you registered. If you didn't, I'll put my email and you can email me. I'll send you these scripts. But some of my favorite quotes here, make calls to make more money. The best script is the one that you use, which is true. I have a lot of times say that you're never going to run off a motivated buyer or seller by following up too much, especially if they said, hey, yeah, I'm going to do this, going to do that, call me at 6. And you call at 6 and they don't answer and you just don't call them back. Don't feel like you're bothering. Like you're never going to run off someone that is actually motivated to buy or sell. And then I already said this before, don't become a customer service representative. Become a salesman, saleswoman. That's big. And on the seller side, if you fail, and we can talk about this when I go over my unique selling proposition, I'm going to go over. But if the seller or buyer sees an opportunity to ask for a discount, you fail to provide some value to them. So if they're like, oh yeah, sounds great, man. Well, I got this guy that'll discount his commission to give me back a point. You already messed up. You didn't provide enough value for them to think that's even an option for them to ask you for a value. They need to be like, holy crap, I can't believe I'm going to work with this guy, kind of thing. And on the listing side, again, we're getting off buyers, but on the listing side, every dollar I discount off the sale of your home directly impacts the marketing dollars I have to sell your home. So a lot of people, especially listings, you'll go in there and they'll say everything is great. How much do you charge? I always say I charge 3%. It's always good to incentivize the buyer's agents as well. So paying them 3% really helps them show your property and things like that. I really tried to avoid the word 6 or 6% in there, but just say, especially if it's high dollar, just know, say I have a percentage that I use for marketing dollars to sell your property. That goes into prints, social media ads, targeted ads, all things like that. And the more I discount off of my commission, the less marketing dollars I have to actually sell your property. So just ensure that, you give me the proper platform to ensure I get the best price for your house. So say something like that, and then build so much value during this presentation, they feel stupid to even ask for a discount. I like that. And like I said, if they see an absence of value, they see a window to ask for a discount. So just try to prepare yourself with these buyer scripts and these seller scripts to kind of not bulldoze them through the conversation, but just make sure that you lead them in the right direction to want to use you. So Mikey, do you want to go over this really quickly? I know we spent a lot of time on this, but do you want to, and technical difficulties, but do you want to run through this really quickly?
Sure.
Okay. You can be the agent and I'll be like an easy buyer just to get through it. So you guys can see the flow of this. So,
Yep. No, it sounds good. And everybody, I want you to listen to my tone and everything, how I talk to Jeff. This is exactly how I sound talking to a potential buyer or seller. I don't change like too much. There's things that you might say differently, but being authentic is number one. And as long as you're authentic, usually that works. So we'll go ahead and start here. I also want everybody to notice how I ask Jeff a question prior to leading into the script. It's the absolute easiest way to get into the script. All right. Ring.
hello.
Hey, Jeff, Michael Bass, Cityside Properties. How are you?
Oh, good. How are you?
Doing well, man. Thanks for asking. Hey, you actually reached out about that property there at 123 Main Street. Just wanted to check and see what all questions you had on it.
Yeah, man, I saw that. It didn't have an address. Where is that property?
Yeah, so that one, it's actually located there in the Upper Kirby area. It's really, really nice location, walkable to Trader Joe's. Is that kind of the area you were looking to stay within?
Yeah, I wanted to be in Upper Kirby. I was hoping that would be in there, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. No, it absolutely is. Did you have any questions? I know about, that property itself, or really just kind of properties in general?
Yeah, I saw that, the pictures, and didn't have an address or the price. So really, I was just calling for the price.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it is located there in the Upper Kirby area. Is that the specific area we're looking to stay within? Because I
Yeah,
know,
really like that area, Midtown, Montrose area, just somewhere really inside the loop.
perfect, man. Yeah, I live in that area too, so I'm very familiar with it. Yeah, have it pulled up here, man. Does look like it's priced around 450,000. Is that around the price you're looking to stay within?
Yeah, I think we can do that. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, and there's other properties in there that I know of in that price range as well. Let me ask you, Jeff, how'd you come up with that price range?
I was using this mortgage calculator online, and I got a buddy that said that I can afford that, and it seems pretty reasonable for the area.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, those online calculators they're great tools for sure, man. Well, what's bringing you guys to the area?
Oh man, we've been living out in the Woodlands, and we want to move inside the loop, better nightlife, restaurants and things like that. So just trying to get closer into the action, if you know.
For sure. Yeah, yeah. Get that city living going, huh?
That's it.
Absolutely, man. And I know you said you currently live in the Woodlands. Are y'all renting or do you own there?
We own a house.
Awesome, awesome. Okay. Do you know, if you're going to have to sell that house prior to moving down here? Are you guys going to rent it out? Have you thought about that as of yet?
No, I bought that house for cash money.
Cash money, that's awesome. No, for sure, for sure. Well, the good thing is we'll be able to run through that. If you did want to, leverage that, or if you're just going to rent that out, we could help you with that as well, which is great.
Oh, cool.
Well, hey, I assume you reached out to me directly because you're not working with an agent currently. Is that correct?
No, I mean, I got a lot of friends that are realtors, but not working with anyone specifically.
For sure, man. Let me ask you that. Have you been inside of any homes as of yet, or not really? You just started the search.
No, just this is the first house that really caught our eye. So
Perfect, man. Perfect. Well, look, I definitely look forward to having that opportunity to earn your business. I'm part of the number 4 team here in Houston. We sell over 700 homes a year. I don't tell you that to brag or anything, although we're very proud of that. I just want you to know that experience is everything when it comes to negotiating these sales prices, negotiating inspections. And I look forward to meeting you and going over that with you so I can show you exactly how I do that, man.
yeah, no, that sounds impressive. I'm ready. Can I go take a look at that property here this afternoon?
What time do you have available?
I'm free after 12.
I'll tell you what, let me take a look at my calendar and I can actually see if we can go take a look at that. And then, I know that you, I know that we were talking about the 450, the mortgage calculator. You paid with your last house with cash. Were you going to actually pay cash on this one as well? Or were you going to be taking advantage of some of that, the down payment options that lenders have?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to get a loan on this house. It's a little bit
Gotcha.
more than the other one. So
Sure. No, we can definitely help you out. Well, the very first step in the home buying process is getting that pre-approval. And the reason for that is it actually gives us a few things. So it gives you that pre-approval letter, which most sellers actually require in order to get us in those homes. But also it's going to give us that exact purchasing power. And let me give you an example. So I know you were using those mortgage calculators. Those are great tools, but sometimes they don't actually put the correct, hazard insurance in there. Is it in a flood zone? Do you need any additional wind and hail insurance? It doesn't give those accurate quotes, as well as the HOA fees, if there are any. And so what that lender will do, he'll be able to look at everything and say, hey, because of all the info you give me, this is the purchasing power we need to stay within. And that way we know, hey, whatever that might be, 450 to 500, 350 to 450, 450 to 700, whatever it is, we know where to stay within.
Yeah.
Does that kind of make sense?
no, that makes sense for sure.
Perfect, man. Well, I'll get them to reach out to you actually here pretty shortly. I know you said you have any time available after 12. Can they call you at 12?
Yeah, I guess I just want to make sure I wanted to see that house today. I want to see it before it gets under contract,
For sure, yeah, and I'm looking at it right now, and it does look like we need to get that pre-approval letter sent over to them prior to us actually taking a look at it. So that's the reason for that, actually talking with the lender, so we can get that pre-approval over there, so we can get inside of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then yeah, I guess have him call me at 12.
Perfect, man. And yeah, we should be able to go show you right after that. So don't worry, we should be able to do that. And then the one you reached out about, it had 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. It was on kind of a smaller lot, but it had a little yard. What do you think's your 5 must-haves in a home whenever I do property search for you, so I can send you over the absolute best ones on the market?
Yeah, so definitely at least 3 bedrooms. I want to be inside the loop. I'd love for it to be gated, like in a gated community, or at least a gate or whatever thing. I do like a little outdoor space, maybe outdoor kitchen or something like that. And then we're probably going to have some kids eventually, so want to make sure it's in a good school zone.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I'll tell you what, based off everything that, we've talked about today, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go ahead, get my preferred lender over to you at 12. But another thing I'm going to do is actually kind of send you some additional properties that I already have in mind that would match those 5 must-haves you just said. Good school district, at least 3 bedrooms, fully gated communities. So I'm going to send you over some, because what I want to do is I want to show you more than one, so we can utilize our time, more efficiently, if that works with you.
Yeah, we got a little bit of time. I'd like to see, just a few, but yeah, that sounds good.
Perfect, man. Well, I'll tell you what, he'll give you a shout. The lender will give you a shout at 12, and then I'm going to call you right after that. But I'm going to send you properties here in just maybe 15 minutes. So that way we might be able to grab a couple other ones to schedule.
Okay, I really appreciate it. Thank you. We'll see
No
you.
worries, man.
Hopefully we'll see you this afternoon.
That sounds great. I look forward to helping you guys out.
All right, so that was I didn't want to spend too much time on it, but that was a pretty easy way to do it. In our script practices that we do, sometimes I give Mikey a little bit harder time, or vice versa, so he can start throwing out, the one-liners that we use and things like that. So, but yeah, that's the 7-point buyer method. We have that in PDF. We go over it every Tuesday. So if you're interested in that information, just let us know. I wanted to get rid of that one. Thank you, Mikey. That was good. Make sure everyone, if anybody has any questions, to put it, in the chat. Start putting some questions right there. But I know we've been talking about scripts, but I did want to go over this document right here. Mikey, you see this?
Yep.
Okay. It's essentially your unique selling proposition that you need to develop when you're reaching out to buyers and sellers. And this is a document that we go over with each of our agents, whether they're on the team or in our network. And it's essentially something that you can provide of tremendous value to that other person that separates you from the competition. So this is just a worksheet, and I won't go over it step by step because we got about 5 more minutes here. But it's essentially, you need to ask yourself a few questions. What's unique about your service that nobody else in your marketplace is doing? You need to find that and figure that out and be able to present that to people. And then what is it about your specific service that your clients love? That's another question. What makes you stand out from your competition? That's another question. And then at the end here, let me go to the next page. Here we go. You need to write out your unique selling proposition. Here's some examples. Like, for example, Domino's is, hey, it's delivered in 30 minutes or it's free, right? Or the unique selling proposition of Uber. We offer seamless travel with the rider walking away after arriving at his destination, or UPS or FedEx, when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight. So something short and sweet. I offer very unique propositions to my investors, where I can get them into a list of properties that match their criteria, and I can dive into the market and find those unique properties. So that's my unique. But if you guys want this worksheet, just reach out to us and we'll get you that worksheet. I wanted to share that with you as well, so not just about scripts and everything. So I think my sinuses are getting worse as the Zoom is going along, so that's good. We have some chats. Make sure there's no questions in here. Let's talk. What's that?
Real quick. So Lorenzo wanted to know,
yeah,
if you ever asked them to sign a buyer's rep? And so this is a common question, and so I'll tell you exactly what I tell my team, no, I never do, not in the initial conversation. And I'll ask you this. Let's say if you go and buy a car, and you walk up, a salesman walks up to you and says, hey, you need to sign this piece of paper before we can start talking about looking at or whatever on a house. No one's going to use that person, right? No one ever is. And so what we do, you have that first initial conversation, you actually meet them in person. And once you meet them in person, that's whenever you start bringing up that buyer's rep agreement. And what we do is we kind of put it off. This is what I do. I put it off kind of, it's not me. It's like my broker. It's the state of Texas. They require this document. So I'm going to send it over to you so you can kind of look at it. Let me know if you have any questions. And if you do it like that, it's a lot less, intimidating, because if you start talking about it right up front in the first initial conversation, it just doesn't usually go well. So have your conversation first, meet them in person. Once you meet them in person, that's whenever you can kind of mention it, send it to them. And then it's easier to get it signed that way.
Yep, that is the unaggressive approach. You can also do a more aggressive approach, especially if they answer some of those questions wrong, or they have kind of throws up some red flags. You can say in your packet, create a buyer's packet, and when you show them, you can give them the home buyer's guide. You can give them the copy of the buyer's tenant rep agreement, and things like that. I think it's a lot easier to get someone to sign the IABS. So it's the information about broker services. It's just one page. It's very easy to explain. And if you, a lot of times when you get those people to sign that, and then another agent asks them if they're working with somebody, or, hey, have you signed a buyer's rep with somebody? They'll say, yeah, I signed something, or yeah, I'm working with somebody, I signed it, kind of thing. So using the IABS form would be good. One, you're supposed to present that information to them anyway. And then two, if they sign that really quickly, it allows you to become, not just a customer service representative for them. They'll be your client. So you can share seller's disclosures with them. You can share your idea of the market analysis for the CMA and stuff like that. But without them agreeing to get that information from a broker and what that entails, technically you're not supposed to give that to them. So either do it that way, or like Mikey said, put it off on the broker. I can send you the CMA, and I can send you the offer, and I can send you all this kind of stuff, but just need to knock out a little bit of paperwork. And then is there any reason you wouldn't sign this today? Kind of isolate that. So unaggressive or aggressive approach on that. But any other questions?
Nicole has a good one. Do you have a way of, especially for women in real estate, do you have a way to verify someone's identity prior to showing, just to avoid sketchy situations? What's the best way, I guess?
Best way, right, Mikey, is to get him to talk to your lender, and give that value. If there's some red flags in there, take an associate with you, take me or Mikey with you. If you're feeling a little funky with it, you can ask a little bit more detailed questions, but also get them to talk to another lender. And that lender traditionally ask, a lot tougher questions like, hey, I got to run your credit. I need your social security number. I need your first name. I need your address. I need you to click on this loan application, kind of thing. And if you're feeling a little sketchy, and then they don't talk to your lender, and they're avoiding some questions, and they say, hey, I really want to see this property, just make the call. I would make the call, or bring an associate with you, or something like that. That's what I would do, right, Mikey or Amanda?
Yeah, for sure. If it's feeling sketchy, there's probably a reason you're feeling sketchy. So either bring another associate with you, or don't even go show them until you can, I guess, fully verify that everything's good, right? And they just might have an interesting personality. But yeah, don't ever, I think most of us here wouldn't, but if there's red flags, don't ever go, show someone like that.
And stand by your standard. Like you never look back and go, oh my gosh, like I could see all those red flags. I totally avoided it. You can't even go see an apartment complex these days, like a confined building where you're not leaving without giving your driver's license, right? So it's okay as a lady to go be like, hey, give me a copy of your driver's license. And I'm going to start processing, the showings. I'm going to start setting those up with the sellers. Ideally, you're going to get them with the lender, and the lender is going to pull their credit and have their social security number. But always make sure that you're really smart, because there's lots of creepers out there.
Yep.
Both listings had really good advice too in here. The one searches for phone numbers if there's any red flags, and the other one's gets a text copy of their driver's license. And if they won't send a photo ID, they don't show them, which I think's, both.
It should be-
Especially if you're feeling it. I mean, there's, like you said, there's a reason you're feeling it most of the time. Okay, let me make sure, there's no other questions. We didn't get into everything I wanted to get into, so we can do another session, like maybe, volume 2, 2001, anyway, volume 2 or something like that. But like I said, I have, some other stuff I did want to share with you guys, and we'll go over this in another session. But a lot of times people say, oh, another agent can get me more money, something like that, really quickly. And I can go over this in detail, a little bit later. But the biggest thing that I say to that, and the best one that I've been the best way to get into that is, I can appreciate that other agents haven't studied the market like I have. And you can kind of get into the point where you can say, taking overpriced listing gets a sign in the yard. And sometimes they need those signs in the yards to get some buyer leads and so you can kind of go into that. But there's that one there. That's the most common one. Another common one is we want to think it over. And the biggest thing with that is isolate it. Hey, thanks for all the information. We just want to think it over. You say, great. Other than thinking it over, is there any other reason you would list with me today? Right? And isolate it. And then once you go through these steps here and get through the isolation, and you've asked them that question at the beginning, is there any other reason you wouldn't? At the end, you ask for the business again, and they say, okay, well, time to get going, kind of thing. So that's another common one. Another common one really quickly before we jump off is I'd like to list with you, but I have other agents to interview. Traditionally, when that happens, they feel obligated almost to keep on interviewing other agents. So you can say, let me save you the time as well by starting the process tomorrow to find you a buyer. And I do this all the time. What I'll do is I'll reach out to those agents. I'll let them know that I have earned your business and I've gotten the listing. If they can bring any buyers, I can appreciate that. And I'll just cancel those appointments for you, so you don't have to have that delicate conversation and kind of go like that. And then this is a really long document, but I wanted to share it with you guys. So if you're interested, you can definitely ask me for it, and we can reach out and send it to you. But it's essentially the training that we've created, Real Estate 101 training, and it includes all of these things right here. So how to get started, how to get leads, buyer appointment, the consultation, step-by-step tips, offer, etc. And at the very end, there's a lot of different lead sources that are referral only, which are really good to kind of get your business going. If you don't have a lot of money, but you have a lot of time, and you get kind of scripted and go through the real estate 101 trainings, we can send you a list of websites that you can sign up for, and they'll send you a referral only lead. So, but that is it. We're just a couple minutes over, which I think is good, having all the difficulties that we had, but we checked the chat right here. Oh yeah, Matt has put some stuff in there. So, but yeah, if there's not any other questions, Amanda, Mike, you have any last final words or anything like that?
Would you guys be open to doing another class on scripts, but specifically for sellers instead of buyers?
Yeah, we can switch to maybe go over the listing presentation. We can go over the most common listing seller objections that we have. And yeah, for sure.
That would be awesome. So on that Team Legacy calendar, if you check out our website, teamlegacyorganization.com, all of our trainings are there, but every Tuesday at 10 a.m., we have a different rock star teaching a completely different topic. It's totally free. It's open to everyone. So invite everyone, and we're going to hit these guys up to do another one specifically for sellers.
Yep. Mikey, any final words?
Yeah, so if you're more interested, or maybe you're a newer agent, buyer scripts, we do a lot of buyer scripts every Tuesday at 2. So even today at 2, we'll get in, and it's very interactive. So if you come in there, expect to be like in a role play situation. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, because it steers a lot of people the wrong, like not to want to do it, but it helps you grow. So come join that too, because then you can actually practice these scripts with us as well.
All right. Well, that's it for today. Like we said, we do these every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Like I always like to leave these messages, these meetings with make more calls to make more money, right? Simple as that. What's the secret to success? Having more contacts, having more conversations with people. So Simple as that, but enjoy your week. Pray for me. My nose has gotten worse since I started the Zoom. And yeah, we'll go from there. Y'all have a great week.
And Jeffrey, can we get your email so that we can contact you, please?
Yeah, let me do that real quick. I will not leave the meeting. I will, let me stop the recording.